Alright, we're doing suspension today. This is stock height. I'll measure it out before and after for you, don't worry. So, we're going to be installing this Espelir DOWNSUS kit. If you want to see the unboxing, just check it out right up here. Also going to be installing these rubber bump stops. So if you want to see the unboxing for that, check it out right here as well. But yeah, that's what's going down today. So we're going to install the lowering springs in the front. Going to install the leaf springs in the back. And the bump stops. So of course, grabbed a pair of these. Spring compressors, safety first. You can try and be a tough guy, but doesn't really matter if you're dead or missing an eye. So just a heads up on that. And then also, I don't know if we're going to use this. I got this. It's a tool to measure camber adjustment. So I'm going to try and use it to see if we can figure out how much the camber changes in the front. So, you know, I'm going to drop it, so that means it's going to go a bit more negative. But we'll see if we need to adjust it, you know, compare it to factory numbers and whatnot. So for this camber tool, what I did is I used this bubble level to find a completely straight, you know, surface. So it ended up being this piece of wood. And then what I did was I put the level up against this, and then put this up against the level, and then use the adjustment knob to zero it out. Now just remember, this tool's use is to actually measure, you know, when you add, just how much camber you add or take away. It's actually not made to measure camber, but that's what we're going to try and do. So I have it leveled out on the closest thing to a perfectly straight surface that I have, and then what I'm going to do is, before installing the suspension and then after, we're going to try and measure the camber. And how are we going to do that? So this center wheel cap here, see if I can get it off. There we go. So yeah, I'm just going to attach the magnet to that, assuming that's a completely straight cut. And then yeah, I don't know, I'm probably gonna take it to an alignment shop anyways to check the toe and whatnot. But yeah, just curious how much the camber will change in the front, and that's how we're gonna do it. So we're gonna do the rear suspension first. So what we'll need to do is we're gonna jack up the rear of the truck, and then we're going to put a jack stand, hold it up so the axle's in the air. And first thing we want to do is we want to remove the U-bolts. Hard to show you. Let's see if I can get you a better view. There we go. We're going to remove the U-bolts there to take it off the axle and put in the new bump stops. But first, remove the U-bolts. Then we're going to remove the leaf spring from the front, let that drop. Going to remove it from the rear, let that drop out. Install the new leaf spring in reverse order. And remember, we're going to have the truck jacked up in the air, so the wheel's off the ground. And then when the wheel's off the ground, we also have to support the axle, because once we disconnect all this, the axle will drop, and we don't want it to drop. So yeah, I'll hit you with that time lapse. We'll do the rear, we'll check it out, and I'll show you the front. I mean, maybe not.
I don't know.
Mom mirror goes on their own pace though, right?
Yeah, you could definitely still be doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder what type of camber we're dealing with.
Even lower than that?
She's still coming down.
It's still going.
Still coming down.
Oh, I could.
More.
It's still coming down.
It
There.
still needs to settle and stuff too.
There she is.
That's a lot better.
Huh?
That's a lot better.
Yeah, damn.
We can measure it. I measured it, so. Alright, so here's the finished product. Got the new leaf springs in the back and the lowering springs in the front. So here's the front with the new lowering springs. I'm going to show you before and after. And then here's the rear. Show you a before and after for this one too. And I've taken measurements for each wheel and whatnot, so I'll also put them up, how much it dropped and whatnot. So the rears were definitely way easier than the fronts. So for the rears, just keep in mind again, you have to reuse that bushing. So it might be wise to order a new set of bushings when you do it. Mine were okay, so I just reused them. But it was pretty easy. And just make sure the driver's side and passenger side is kind of aligned, because just to line up the holes and stuff, you do have to push it around, so it's always handy to have an extra hand. But yeah, rear was super easy. Fronts weren't too bad either, honestly. So as you can see, you just access 2 bolts from the top of the strut, and then that drops the strut. And as you've probably seen in the time lapse, taking the spring out and whatnot, you have to clamp it down. And there's the new lowering spring. So it's a bit of a struggle, tightening the springs and whatnot. But once you put it in, it's pretty easy. And once again, you can see, pardon for the noise, you can see the finished product. There it is. It's officially lowered. Alright, thanks guys. Peace out.